Tim, you know all about this game. You've played in it, you've managed in it, and you've scored an absolute cracker in a North London derby.
And it was a winner. Could you mention that, please? It was a winning goal.
You scored a cracking winning goal.
I remember this goal. It was a free kick from the left-hand side, and just whipped it past David Seaman. And I remember it now. The roar of the crowd. I mean, the noise when this hits the back of the net was just incredible. After the game, I went into the players' lounge, and my dad was in there, who's a huge Arsenal fan. And when I saw his face, I thought someone in the family had just died. You know, he was devastated, the fact that I would do that to his team. And I was obviously very delighted.
Yeah.
You score in a North London derby, you get a lot of grace. You get a lot of bad games, and people say, well, don't worry, he scored in a derby.
Yeah. Rachel, I think you and I were both wondering if the footage was going to be in black and white. That's great goal, Tim. What do you make of the North London derby? Because it's so electric. The atmosphere of Premier League football is electric anyway. And then you've got these two rivals that are separated by short distance. And everyone's talking about it. Everyone's hyped it up. What do you like about this game?
I think it just always brings a lot of action. I think when you're a player and I can't relate to this specific derby, but have played in derbies, and it's just different. It's so hard to put into words. And I think typically as well, this derby, it brings goals. There normally, I think, is a winner as well. I think the stats say there's normally a winner. So I think as fans, you look forward to that. And as a neutral as well, you hope there's lots of drama.
OK, we're going to talk specifics of this game, who's in, who's out, potentially. But before we do that, let's hear from the managers. And they both say this North London derby is huge for the clubs and for the fans.
How you doing, Andrew? Right?
Good, Mark. Yeah.
Just get the team news pretty positive, is it?
So I guess internationals all came back okay. Biss is the only one that's obviously got an issue. It's not serious, but he's getting treatment today. We'll see if he can train tomorrow and make a decision there. Out of the other guys, Mickey van der Ven's all good. He's trained pretty fully through the international break, and Dom, back half of this week, sort of joined with the first team, trained today. So again, we've got training tomorrow. If they get through all right, I guess we'll be available. Richie, Will Lancashire are the only two that other two that are in rehab.
You addressed it earlier in the summer, but Rodrigo Bentancur has now been charged by the FA. Potential hefty ban. Can I just get your reaction to the charge, please?
Yeah, not I guess unexpected from our perspective. We kind of knew that it's something that the league would look at, and it's kind of, we need to let the process sort of play out now. And Rodrigo's well aware of the ramifications of any outcome from the panel, but we'll just wait and see what they come out with.
Special game Sunday. I was listening to you a few weeks ago talking about potential new cycles here, and Mikel Arteta probably went through a similar one. Do you see similarities with what he's building there to what you're trying to do at Tottenham Hotspur?
It's hard to say, because I guess every sort of situation is kind of unique in itself, because they're different clubs and I guess different different environments. But I've said before, there's obviously a way to sort of build a team and a club and sort of go in a certain direction, and that always, for the most part, takes time. It's about finding the right people in the key positions, and all those things are club decisions, and as you go along, I guess clubs decide whether they want to continue down that road or not. The results aren't always there immediately, which is not surprising in this league, but I think for the most part, clubs that have sort of stuck to a certain direction because they believe they're heading in the right way, eventually sort of get to a place where their team is competitive for a sustained period of time.
They're considered Manchester City's main title challengers, but I know you're ultra ambitious as well, and there's a lot of between the clubs, who finishes above who. Do you think this current squad you've got now is capable of challenging Arsenal this season?
Well, not specifically Arsenal, but we want to be a club that can challenge everyone. So, that's what we're trying to aim to become. And to do that, you've got to perform at a certain level on a consistent basis. You've got to have a squad strong enough to do that, to withstand the challenges that inevitably come during the course of a season. But we've started the season fairly solidly from a performance perspective. Obviously, the results haven't reflected that, but I think we're in a good place to really, push on from last year and improve in all areas of our game. And if we do that, I mean, we got close to challenging last year. There's no reason why we can't this year.
That's good.
Thanks, mate.
Alex.
Hi, Ange.
Hey.
After what you've experienced in this huge fixture so far in your time here, how would you try and sum up the rivalry in North London?
I guess everyone, every sort of derby involved is a bit different. Obviously, this one, you can tell that it's fairly intense between the two clubs. Obviously, geographically, sort of situated in the same part of town. They're trying to defend the same turf, and there's always a little bit of an edge. I thought both games last year were, very entertaining. I thought we played well at their place and really matched it with them, and could have even won on the day. Here, we kind of at our place, we got blown away in the first half. Sort of tried to make game of it in the second half. So plenty of goals and exciting, and we know what it means to our supporters and what it means to the club. But like I said, for us, what's really important is we've got to go out there and perform. We've got to play our football, play well, because irrespective of the rivalry, they're a top side. So you need to do that.
What kind of impact could a win have on the rest of Tottenham's season?
Look, hard to say. I've never felt like there's an easy way to success. I don't think one thing determines, or can change a trajectory to a great effect, but it helps because it's not just a win in a big game, in a derby, but it's a win against one of the top sides. So, that gives you, I guess, more belief and confidence, and potentially that could sort of, inject some real momentum into our season. But, I've never been one to think that, just a win on the weekend is enough for us to say that, we're on the right course, and alternatively, if things don't go our way, that somehow we need to, change course.
Well, I'm really happy, really excitement. I think it shows the alignment between the club and myself and the coaching staff, that we are in this journey together, that we enjoy working together, that we have much higher ambitions, that we want to fulfill them. So that's the way that I look at it, and as I said, really, really pleased and grateful as well.
I think it was this week, 13 years ago, you made your debut as a player at Arsenal. So in terms of off the pitch...
Still look the same though.
You've aged very well.
Yeah.
But it's been a lucky 13, because I guess you wouldn't want to be anywhere else at the moment.
No, I couldn't think about a better place to be, to develop my career as a player, to experience such an amazing football club, the people that I met, the experiences that I had, and now as a manager, that has been something far beyond and better than what I ever dreamed about, probably.
We talked about lucky 13 there in terms of you've got a new deal, but unlucky 13, I guess, in terms of the news this week regarding Martin. What can you tell us about his injury?
We need some more tests, so let's see what happens in the next day or so, this afternoon probably, and see what happens, what is the extent of the injury, and how quickly we can get him back. He's super positive about everything. We know Martin, he wants to be there every single day, but we have to wait and see.
I know it's probably swelling, so it's impossible for you to give a proper prognosis, but having seen him, I'm sure you have seen him, is he hopeful that it might not be as bad as potentially you first thought?
I leave that to the doctor, but his will, there's no question about that. He wants to be present in every game, and obviously a big game like this one, but we need to make sure that we know, first of all, how good he can be or not.
But just to clarify, I know we can't read too much because of the swelling, but you're not ruling him out at this stage?
Players with 48 hours are always available, but let's see what happens.
And obviously other injury concerns as well. How's Mourinho coming on?
Better. It's a slow process because it's a bone and it takes a while to heal. He's progressing well. He's already doing some stuff. He's working extremely hard. We're using this time as well to make sure that he understands a lot of things that he has a lot of questions about. And when he's back, he's ready to go and impact the team.
Before the next international break, potentially? Or?
We don't know. Honestly, it's very difficult to understand the healing of the bone. I think the moment he has a lot of symptoms, you can speed it up very quickly because he hasn't lost anything else. But we have to wait and see.
Better news? Gabriel Jesus is out there with the
rest
of the players?
Gabi was out. He's got another session tomorrow if everything goes well, he will be ready to be selected in the squad, which is great news for us.
And I think I've not mentioned Fiore yet.
Yeah.
Any news on him?
Yeah, it's another one that we have to wait another day or so. Yeah.
All right. And what about Raheem? Obviously, he's had a chance to train with you a little while now. Would it be too early to give him a start on this?
He looks great. First of all, because he's got a big smile on his face, a lot of energy. He's at it, and he wants to prove a point. And when someone's got that in his belly, you sense it straight away. And obviously, I don't need to discover anything about his quality and what he can bring to the team.
So that's a yes then. And just a final thought, for the first time ever, Arsenal won't be wearing their red and white in the North London derby. I know it's nothing to do with the club, nothing to do with Spurs, but do you think that matters?
Well, it's not ideal. We wanted to play with our home kit and our colours, but it's not our decision, and we will adapt. We did it against Villa, we won, so hopefully you're going to bring very good luck as well.
Thank you.
George, what do you think? Mikel, just on Raheem, when you say he wants a proof point, what's he been like in these last 2 weeks, and basically what's just going through his head about what he wants to achieve with you at Arsenal?
Well, what I see is hunger. He's a player that wants to play every minute of every game. When it's not the case, he's not happy. He loves football. He's what he likes doing every single day, and I see that. And his commitment, the level of energy that he's bringing to the team, and the quality is a big boost. You can feel it on the players as well. When he's walking through the door, we are better with him, and he's going to make us better.
He had a great run of goal scoring at Man City when you was there. Every season it seemed to go up. Can you both unlock that again, and how you see him play in your team? Because he had a knack of being in the right place at the right time with his goal scoring.
And he has this ability, and obviously the credit to that is his and the player that he's got around him. And you need that when you're one of the front players, certainly. He has that intuition, that will, and the ability to do that, and I'm sure he's going to impact the team.
Just going back to your contract, when you first joined Arsenal, it was a very different club to the one now. So just how's it evolving in the way you want it to, and what's next for Arsenal? You need to make the next step in winning major trophies.
Yeah. Well, in the way that I think we all wanted, because we wanted a very different club, and we are in the right direction. We have made some huge steps, and we have a lot still to make. And you sense that hunger from ownership to the board to all the players and staff here, and this is the aim and the objective.
And is there any club or country you would have left Arsenal for, or you were so settled on just
No. This is the emotional attachment that I have, that my family has, my kids have, the experience that I have, and the involvement with the people is too strong.
Okay, so we saw footage of Martin Odegaard getting onto a plane after that Norway game, after that horrible ankle injury. He was in a boot, probably a protective boot. And I think everyone around the world is saying he's going to be out for 3 weeks at least, because the Norway doctor said that. But you both seem to think differently. You say, I thought maybe mind games from Arteta, but you think he could play.
I think it's wrong to read into anything with a boot, because precautionary measures are always taken by physios now. They don't know until they have the ankle scan the day after, or when the swelling goes down. They don't know what the damage is. So it could be a sprain. If it's a sprain, you have to give him every opportunity to be fit. And that includes the 24 hours, 48 hours up to the game. I wouldn't rule him out. I really wouldn't. If he's damaged his ligaments, it's a different matter. Then he's going to... I played with damaged ligaments. But I would always ask the physio, I'd say, they're the experts. I would say, am I going to get worse? Am I going to miss 5, 6 play in one game? If they said no, I would get on with it, take some painkillers and play. It's up to the individual, and hopefully for Arsenal's sake, he will be fit.
Rachel, would you play in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, if there's any chance at all, I've probably got a habit of being a bit stubborn. I would really push to try and be available. I think the fact they're missing Rice, I think there's more likelihood they're going to be trying to do absolutely everything that they might otherwise take, less risk in a different game or when other players are available. Knowing his character, captain, I think he's going to, if there's any possibility, I think he's going to want to at least try. And, there'll be the images, and depending how bad it is and how he feels, because some players don't like to play in any pain. Yeah. You have other players who will play through it. So I would say there's a very good chance he could be in that starting
But Rach,
team.
you know what it's like? It's the biggest game of the season. I mean, for me, from being from that area, when I went there as a player, I used to look and say, when are we playing Arsenal?
Yeah.
When I went to Tottenham as a manager, when's the Arsenal game? You look for it. And I think these boys, especially Odegaard, like Rachel said, with the armband on now, it means a lot for him. He does not want to miss this game. You know, it could be one of two. It could be more. They could draw each other in the cup competitions. But he will not want to miss it. So he'll give himself every chance to play.
Yeah, I think especially after Arsenal dropped points against Brighton. Let's remind you of those goals. Kai Havertz scored the opener for Arsenal. He's someone who's talked about moving into the midfield potentially if they need to reshuffle things in a big way there. What do you think about Arteta's plan B if he doesn't have Odegaard, because already he doesn't have Rice?
Yeah, I'm not sure that would be what I would immediately do. I think Havertz gets a bit of a tough gig, really. Just a lot of people, I don't think, give him as much credit. I don't know if it's because his demeanour, he's always very straight-faced. You don't see too much emotion, but I like him in the 9. I think he carries a lot of threat. I think he's had consistent in that position. I would keep him there. I think they've got other options. You know, they might look at Trossard almost coming in. I know he normally plays off the side, but he can be almost a good fill-in in that sort of central position as well. So I think they've other options.
Yeah, and this was the 1-1 goal. We just 1-1 game. We showed you the goal there from João Pedro as well. And you said definitely red card for Rice. You already gave us your opinion on that. Let's talk about Raheem Sterling then, because potentially a debut. Would you start him? I
would start him, yeah. I would drop Havertz back into, depending on whether Odegaard's fit. Obviously, we know Declan's going to be missing. I think he's flexible enough, and I think he's got the quality to play in a deeper role. I'll drop him back. I think they have options in there. But certainly I would play Raheem. I think he's a big game player, and Pedro Porro plays right back. He likes to play in the offensive areas of the field. I think if they're brave enough, Arsenal, and Mikel gets his tactics right, he leaves Sterling high and wide and lets him get the ball, I think he could hurt Tottenham. But going the other way, Pedro Porro, Raheem will not want to be running back with him. So it's a tactical battle what the managers have got to sort out. We know exactly how Tottenham are going to play. I love the way they want to play. Ange Postecoglou want to play on the front foot. He will go for the jugular, 100%. He will not worry about Arsenal. And Mikel will have to have a little think now. Whereas before, he would have picked his side picks itself almost, and then he just goes out. But with the 2 injuries, if Odegaard's missing, I think it really makes it level. I think it's a 50-50 game, I really do. But it'd be a high-scoring game for sure.
Yeah, it was 5 goals in this fixture last time. And as you mentioned, just Arteta with his absentees, we were hearing from Ange Postecoglou today that he might be boosted. The 2 players who were in doubt, in Solanke and Mickey van der Ven, available.
Yeah, and I think Mickey van der Ven, for me, is especially important. I think he has that pace that people talk about that you'll need, because the dynamic nature of the Arsenal attack, you've got to have mobile players. This is him here going the other direction. You see him just driving forward. Very capable player with the ball at his feet. Nice little slide ball here. And a really good finish by Son from a narrow angle. And that's also what Spurs are very good at. And that'll challenge Arsenal in the same regard, because Arsenal have shown they've been very, very good for over the last year at that defensive structure that they carry. But it'll be a really good test, I think, in this game.
Yeah, that was insane how he just went from one box to the other and then got an assist as well. Tottenham started the season, though, overall.
Disappointing points-wise. Performance-wise, they've been there, but they need to start transferring that into the points and get climbing up. I think they won't panic. I think he's trying to bed in a few new players. They need their players fit all of the time, and I think Van der Ven is a top draw player for me. He needs to be fit. Dominic Solanke looks like he might be back and ready to go. He needs a goal as well to get some confidence going and start his career off at Tottenham. Performance-wise, I wouldn't be alarmed. I think they just need to pick up a few more points, but they know that.
Do you go and sing all the horrible, some of the most vile songs I've heard, and funniest songs I've heard were at derbies? Do you go? Do you sing them?
I'm going this weekend. Yeah, I'm working for. Will
you sing?
Will I sing?
Yeah.
No, I won't be singing. No, I'll be sitting there. I'll be sitting on my hands.
There's going to be a sneaky camera on you.
Because where we sit, where we actually sit with the Premier League is just behind the away dugout.
Bench, yeah.
So Mikel is where you are there. Yeah. So I can't be saying too much, and I can't be cheering when Tottenham score, unfortunately.
On the inside?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need a Sherwood cam on Sunday. Who do I speak to about that? Sherwood Cam. And we need you mic'd up as well.
I'm not sure they're wasting time with that one.
Okay, that is the
Yeah, it was a tough one to take, that one.
I know. Is it a good point, or is it 2 points dropped, or what?
No. It's got to be 2 points dropped simply because you're at home and they know that you can't drop points at home when you're going for what Arsenal are trying to achieve at the end of the season. So, you know, when you look at the way that they drop the points, obviously it's massively disappointing, but we can't get past the fact it's 3 games and you're going to have to make that up somewhere along the line. But, like, yeah, it was disappointing.
But teams will drop points across the course of the season. I know they don't drop many points now. If you want to go and win the title, it's tougher than it ever has been. But, you know, is it the worst thing in the world?
No, because they didn't lose. But like I say, the most disappointing thing is probably the manner in which they lost and you know, obviously Declan being sent off. It gave Brighton the impetus and they made some very good substitutions. João Pedro, like we've been talking, is very, very dangerous. And in the end, I think that you have to really be happy that you got that point in the way that they were finishing the game.
Do you want to talk about the decision and get it out of the way?
What decision? I didn't see any.
Well, the decision, what decision? Do you think
Declan
Rice was correctly booked twice
I think
for these incidents?
That, like they're saying, like you see the ball's moving now, right? So the ball's moving. So we're talking about letter of the law and we're talking about consistency. I was talking about Darren. So if we are going for the letter of the law, we are going for consistency, then that's not ready to be taken because it's still moving. So then they should have had a look at that and said, well, OK, well, the ball was moving, so you can't restart play because the ball... But then I heard this only 24 hours. I'm hearing ex-referees come out and saying, OK, that was interesting because nobody mentioned that fact. And that is letter of the law. If the ball's moving, then you can't take the restart. So those things should be taken into consideration. We've got referees upstairs who know these rules. I didn't know it. You know what I mean? I didn't know it, but they know it. So they should have said, hang on a minute, the ball was moving, so he wouldn't be able to take the restart anyway. So when you go into it that deeply, like I obviously have over the weekend, you know, and you think to yourself, OK, probably let down by consistency again.
It does feel harsh, that second yellow, doesn't it?
Oh, it's incredibly harsh. I don't want to see games of football decided by that. That was a really good game of football. And if Arsenal would have had 11 players, they would have won, more than likely. So I think the 60, 70,000 that come in, they want to watch football. They don't want to watch a technicality of maybe a little kicker. I know maybe the way the law's written...
That was a first yellow. I mean, obviously there's a spotlight on it because it was a second and he got sent off. But even if that was a first yellow, we'd still be at least acknowledging it today because it just feels strange.
Premier League games shouldn't be decided by that. It should be decided by these brilliant players that we have. And I know the way the law's written, it probably is deemed a yellow. But it comes back to football players, feel. The ref's got to have a bit of feel in that moment. You know, it's a really good game. Yeah, OK, it's a bit emotional and he moves the ball. Right, he makes a great point. The ball's moving, so you can't take it. So in that sense, I think it's crazy harsh. Declan, you know, he's close, ball's moving, just a little move. That's not a yellow card.
You could see as well that Veltman... Yeah, this happened. You know who used to do this to me a lot? Francis Bernardi at Southampton. You know, because when you get the free kick, you go in front of it, Kel, and then you start walking away, because obviously they can't book you for trying to go and get 10 yards. So you go and you try to walk away, but then they kick it against you, and then you get booked. Yeah. They've got to see these things now. They've got to see
you also would have been the player who's standing opposite Declan Rice going, well, lash for the law. So.
Well, Danny Welbeck was saying, it's a yellow.
Yeah, you see it. I mean,
you know,
there's nothing I can do there.
That face that says, come on, it's a yellow. But Declan done what all of us do when, especially that stage of the game, you know what I mean, you're that far up in the pitch, up in the other end of the pitch, you're just going to delay it and just start jogging probably. And, you know, people say, well, Declan shouldn't have done that. You know, he's probably gets away with it on week in, week out. Obviously, they're going to clamp down on it this season. So I'll be looking out for it.
Yeah, well, definitely people will be plenty of yellow cards flying around for that. It's hard to say that's deliberate, isn't it?
It is, but I'm in a minority today, because I'm going to back up the referee.
Well, do you know what? If there's a question mark around it, then it can't be overturned.
Yes. No, I just think that Declan's had a bad day. He's a fantastic player, but the first tackle, he's not going to win the ball, and he goes launching in and he gets the yellow card. He knows he's on the yellow card. And then he puts himself in a position to get carded again. Now, again, the PGMOL, they give us all the rules before the season begins, and they tell us what the threshold's going to be. And they tell us Law 12 means if you do, sorry about being a bit of a geek on this but if you do attempt to delay the restart by kicking the ball away, and they're very specific about it as well in the laws, then you're going to get cautioned. So he knows the rules, the players know the rules, we know the rules, and...
But what about the João Pedro one?
Exactly. I was about to go back to that one. There are Arsenal fans online who have made, across this weekend alone, a list of players across the Premier League who have not been penalised for exactly that kind of thing.
I mean, I was kicked it out of the stadium, João Pedro.
Absolutely. It was absolutely ridiculous in the same game.
So in the other matches going to be stood down for the next round of Premier League matches, and then we've got to have enough referees to...
I mean, I think that there are two separate issues, which is, one, did Rice put himself in a position to be sent off? Yes, he did. Yeah. Is there a problem with consistency? Yes, there is. And I think definitely that has to be...
feel, right? We've got to have... Yeah. Let's let the players decide matches, unless it's really obvious. And I don't think that was... Just felt a bit great, didn't it?
Yes, but I think you're both right. I think that's his 245th match, his first sending off, right? But he's experienced enough not to put himself in a position like that.
Yeah, he'll be kicking himself more than anyone.
Yeah, and I think he has to take a little bit of responsibility.
Yes, he does. But then we've got to stop talking about everything being to the letter of the law, because that wasn't to the letter of the law.
No, I do agree with that, and I think that all I'm saying is you do not put yourself in a position to be sent off. Because if you look at that footage, as the referee's taking out the card, he shrugs and he's saying, you know, what can I do? And you see him, watch him coming in, you see him shrug and you see him do that movement with his right leg, not that movement, the one afterwards, where he basically says, what can I do? Look.
You know what he can do? I'll tell you what can do.
Danny Welbeck is funny there, though.
But what he can do is, because like the ball is dead, so they can be checking upstairs because they can see it, and he can say, well, actually, if we're doing to the letter of the law, the ball's moving. Yeah. That's what they can do there. Yeah. Now, I'm not exonerating Declan, but that's what they can do. So,
and all of those. So maybe I said there are two.
You guys are good lawyers, by the way. I believe you both.
I just like to believe. I'm convincing the jury.
Convincing the jury. Maybe it's not two things. Maybe it's the three things in terms of consistency, because there are cases where referees will let the free kick go if the ball is rolling. Yeah. There are cases where it's not. But I just feel that he's such a good player, he could take responsibility.
You know, and the thing we keep saying the ball hadn't stopped, so they couldn't take the free kick anyway. You can get booked for kicking the ball away, even if they haven't set the ball up for the free kick.
Yeah, but like that was a restart, though, wasn't it? Kelly was saying.
But it hadn't restarted.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Yeah, because they couldn't restart because the ball's moving. So.
But that.
But I'm not going to bend. I'm not going to back down on that one.
He's done his research. He knows.
Every time you mention it, I keep thinking, I'm not following this logic at all. Look, what have you made of Arsenal then? We're three games in, and look, it's 2 dropped points. They will drop points across the course of the season. Ideally, it doesn't happen at this stage. But what have you seen from them this time?
Well, I've seen that the game plan in the way they're playing from the back through the midfield, getting to Saka, getting chances, Kai Havertz coming in, Trossard cutting in. Everything's working how they want it to work, and it's been fantastic up to that point. I think that my mindset going into it is one of a lot of confidence with the teams that we've got coming up. I thought we'd win all the games up to Tottenham, and then it's the derby, so you see how that goes. But then that one was a bit of a surprise to me, simply because, you know, even though Brighton did get the point, it was a game I went into, not saying, we're going to beat them, but saying the way we're playing, we should beat them at home, and we know that we have to be Arsenal winning home games. So, you know, I got very nervous towards the end because I was thinking, oh my gosh, I think we might lose this game, the way they were finishing it. So that's why I was happy with the point. But in the main, Kels, I am happy with it. But like, we know that, you know, what Manchester City are capable of doing, and they've already started the season brilliantly. You cannot see them losing at the moment. So any points dropped is going to be a little bit of a nightmare.
I would say, though, that could be a valuable point by the end of the season. Yeah. Brighton look a better side than people get them credit for. And also, Haaland in the last few seasons, he always seems to miss at least a month, 6 weeks or so. He did
but that's
miss
because
2 months
has he had a summer like he's had this time with a lot of reps?
And he did say it's the first season he started pain-free and feeling really good.
I'm just trying to clutch at straws.
Yeah.
Well,
it's only because I know we're going to talk about Haaland in a bit.
But you know what? I think if you look at Arsenal, I like Timber looks really good.
Yeah.
Chalafoy came on, he looked good.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Raheem's going to be a good option for them as well. So as good as Arsenal were last year, I actually think they might even be better this year.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can just stay fit. I think if they stay fit...
Yeah. Especially certain players. We was very fortunate with some of our main players last season not getting injured. Odegaard, Saliba, you know what I mean? And like Saka, Gabby Margaret, all those kind of players that we needed. Declan not getting injured was a massive bonus. Well, hopefully that can happen again.
Sterling is going to be the key one because obviously Saka, they play him so often.
Yeah.
And if Sterling can come in and play on that right-hand side, you've got no dip in quality. In fact, you've got an upgrade in quality because he's won 4 Premier League titles. So he brings match-winning experience and the ability to score goals. He's versatile. There's so much about him that is an upgrade in many ways to Saka, but it makes you a lot stronger in the final third.
Raheem Sterling didn't come quite out of nowhere. It was certainly a surprise when he'd been linked with Manchester United, and then, ta-da, on deadline day, off he's going to Arsenal.
It made sense. I remember
it does make sense.
It makes a lot of sense, and especially knowing Mikel, knowing how Mikel plays, the way it worked out in the end. Once I heard that Reece Nelson is going to go to Fulham, or he was going to be Ipswich or Fulham, once I heard that was done, I said, then I think Raheem is coming. It's going to be done, and I think when you're looking at his age, his capabilities, the manager he's worked with before, the state of play, he'll know everything in respects of being a rotated player. You know, we had that at City. So if he comes in, and yes, if it is, I don't think it will be. I think it'll probably be the left side more than anything else. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully Martinelli will get his form going, but I think that you can even play him in a false 9.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so you're talking about somebody with his experience. With the way this deal's gone, it's absolutely perfect for Arsenal and Raheem Sterling.
Is it perfect for Raheem Sterling as well, do you think, Darren? Because he sort of lost his way again at Chelsea, clearly, with the sort of falling out with the manager and the statement that may or may not have been put out by his representatives. What do you think?
I think it's a perfect move for him. And I look at the progress of Kai Havertz, who's now scored 18 goals in the last 21 games. I look at Jorginho, who helped challenge for the title in the last couple of seasons as well. Both of them were players that Chelsea thought were no longer good enough to play for them. They've gone to a settled side under a manager with a plan, a club that's progressing, a dressing room that's settled, and they look terrific players. We knew they were anyway. Sterling is too, and he wants, I understand, he wants to get back into the England squad for the World Cup, so I know he's going to be driven to succeed as well. I think this could be another terrific signing for us.
Family, I know, uprooting of the family and that, Kells. Everything's just worked perfect for him. His first game he qualifies for is against Tottenham. He could score in that game, you know, become an instant hero. It's all panning out well for
You've got
Raheem.
the whole future.
As soon as he signed, I had all his all planned. I'm delighted with it.
Did you text him as soon as he did it? Or did
Absolutely.
I knew you would have done.
Because honestly, I'm not even just saying it. You know, sometimes you see a player in the shirt, you can instantly say, that shirt suits him.
Yeah.
It does.
Thank you.
Some moves feel right. And this one, I don't know why. The other one from this, just as an aside, and we are going to go to break in a second. Trevor Chalobah going to Crystal Palace. It just feels right. He looks right in the shirt, and it's got a nice feel about it. Anyway, like you said, 2 points dropped against Brighton, which may come the end of the season not be the worst thing, because Brighton look like they've started well, and they look like they're going to improve, and there's going to be more to come from them.
Oh, good to see everyone. Honestly, I mean, Carl teed it up there. North London derby. Talk to me about this.
Why don't you talk to us about this?
9 goals last season. I mean, it's never not going to get action. The North London derby is a beautiful moment for an Arsenal fan, considering the most recent times. We've walloped Tottenham.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, Liv, I'm glad that Io's in the studio and you can't hide behind something
I know.
down the line. I mean, we're looking. It's a great game for a neutral. It's a derby game of all the derby games that's finally poised as ever. Are you nervous?
I am a bit nervous. I mean, obviously, we're losing 2 key players. Odegaard, Declan Rice. That is massive.
I would say 2 of your 4. When I think of Arsenal, Saliba, Saka, Rice and Odegaard are your 4 best players.
Yeah.
To not have 2 of them in a game that you already don't really know where it's going to go, even when both teams are fully fit, because even though your squad is better than theirs and your first team is better than theirs, in the North London derby, we know genuinely anything can happen.
And Io, just to add a little bit more doom to that,
Go on,
I always feel after the international break, that the ground gets levelled a little bit. We don't quite know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but look, let's face it, man. If Arsenal want a gun, excuse the pun, forward this season and prove that actually this squad is able to cope with all different situations, Jorginho and Partey in the middle have to do the job. Also, I mean, let's not forget the attacking prowess. Trossard, Saka, Havertz still there. Raheem Sterling. I know we had a chat about Raheem Sterling before. I think he could be the extra little bit of spice that Arsenal need this season. On a personal note, I just think if we can get 4 or 5 key goals out of Raheem Sterling this season, in a match like that, that's when you bring a player like that on and maybe does that little sneaky thing around the back of the post. Little tap in. That's all I ask for.
I mean,
Raheem, do the thing.
Yeah, you're going to need him to play like he did for Manchester City and play a similar role to what he did for Manchester City.
But Arteta knows him really well.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm intrigued about that. I'm intrigued. I think Arsenal fans have gone too far one way and Chelsea fans are going too far the other.
Yeah.
I think he's probably going to be somewhere in the middle. Maybe not as good as you expect, but not as bad as Chelsea fans expect.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
An extra 5 goals in big games could be the time. I don't know. Can Arsenal afford to lose this game already?
No, I just don't think if Arsenal are genuinely thinking of being title contenders, these are the kind of games that Arsenal have to win without a shadow of a doubt.
Psychologically, you'd never want to lose a North London derby. I think there's too much football to still play this season to say that it's going to have too much of a detrimental effect. Some good news for Arsenal fans, and maybe no surprise.
Let us know, go on.
The timing of this is really interesting
It's
for me, though. But Mikel and Arteta signing a...
Mikel and Arteta?
Yeah.
2 people.
Has he got a mate called Arteta as well?
And then they said Mikel Antonio. Mikel Arteta signing a 2-year extension to his deal.
Yeah, no, that's massive for Arsenal fans. And I think the timing of it just before the North London derby is absolutely perfect. You know, good vibes and all that kind of stuff. But if you think of the journey that he's been on with Arsenal, if you think of players that aren't there anymore, Ozil, Aubameyang, all that kind of stuff, that squad he inherited, to where Arsenal are at right now, the last 2 seasons really going toe-to-toe with Manchester City. I mean, this is fantastic news for Gunners, and I know we're all happy.
Yeah, you should be happy. But I do think that we're getting into territory now where Arsenal have to win something.
I think so. I think also this is a really selling season. I think you're spot on there, Liv. He has to do something, whether it's an FA Cup, whether it's a Carabao Cup, or something to show that, you know what, he's making progress. Let's not forget he's already won an FA Cup, but it was kind of like...
That doesn't count.
He came in for the final.
I mean, let me just say this. If Arsenal had a player like Thierry Henry, it would be making this game a little bit easier, right? Yes. And talking of North London derby, if we are talking about iconic goals in the North London derby, this one is right up there. I mean...
How can you forget?
How far back has he picked that ball up? Take him out. Do you
see the strength? Do you see the strength of that player? Fakey, drop the shoulder, boom. TT at his finest.
That is... I mean, we are looking at the greatest player to have ever played in the Premier League, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
But that is the statue outside the Arsenal Stadium.
Yeah,
and you know why.
Iconic.
It was iconic, isn't it?
It's a phenomenal goal. I mean, that is one of Thierry Henry's ultimates. And here he is discussing it with Michael Timms.
This one is a run. If Errington is behind me, I make sure that with my hand, I'll let him, see you later.
Just sit down.
But then what was good after is, I think, is Ledley King and Carr, that I make them believe I'm going to go. That's and finishing with my left.
Yeah.
So while I think I'm doing King and Carr, I can see Dennis coming. But in my mind, I'm already stepping to finishing with my left. And all I'm thinking is, if I don't score there, he's going to kill me. But then I did score, and it's against Tottenham, and then people always remember that I went back the whole way to celebrate in front of them.
How good was
that? Thierry, TT.
I mean, for Timsy as well, doing that interview, like he's the biggest
Arsenal
fan.
He's a big Arsenal fan, isn't he?
So to be sat across, and Thierry Henry, I think everyone knows, is as nice as he seems in interviews. He's just lovely, and